We'll talk about that.
It's quite poor. Hello, my name's Ian.
I'm Jason.
This is part 2 of podcast number 4 of the Sims Review. So the part 1 is linked down below, and this time we're talking about festivals. And Jason's just given a fantastic synopsis of the Glastonbury Festival, which is on next weekend. We're not that far away from Glastonbury. It's about 10 miles?
Yeah.
It's pretty close, really.
Less as the crow flies.
Yeah. So anyway, and although we were talking about festivals, I haven't been to that many festivals. But what I thought what I would do is I would talk about the festivals that I have been to, or the festivals that I've played at over the years.
Nice.
And so
that was going to be my Ask Ian, so I better.
All right. You've got like 20 minutes to come. Yeah, because I'm probably going to answer it straight away. Do you want to do the Ask Ian now? Then I could probably answer it.
Well, I was going to say the best venue, festival shaped, that you've either been to or played at.
Best venue. Well, there are different things, aren't there? Best festival or best venue?
Well, it was best venue, but then I was thinking.
Right. Okay. Well, best venue. Well. So, yeah, right. Best festival I ever went to, and it was inside. It was in Hull, and this was, I'll tell you the date. This was in 2017, and it was the year that Hull they had the Year of Culture.
Oh yeah.
And we were going over because we were an hour away in York, just outside of York, and we were going almost every weekend there was something going on, and they had a one-day festival, and. Most of the acts, in fact all of the acts, had to have a woman involved. So it was a female orientated festival. So 2017, it was called Hull Substance Live, and it was in their main hall in the middle of Hull.
Well, like a town hall.
Yeah, it was the town hall. In fact, they had some BBC concerts in there. We went to all sorts of stuff in there. But this particular, and normally it was all seated, but they took out all the seats. They put stages either end of the room. It was quite a big room because it's like a massive town hall. And you would have thought that the sound was a bit ropey because it's there's not a lot of soft furniture, but the sound was great. So they had something called the Dry Sisters. I don't really remember them. I thought they were quite folky.
I don't know the name.
A really good duo called Chambers. The best thing I have ever seen, Lone Taxidermist. Natalie Sharp
Lone Taxidermist.
Now she's moved back up to Tyneside. She's from Tyneside. She was at this time living in London, but only did really one album called Trifle. It's not on my recommendations for today, but go listen to Trifle. It is amazing. It's weird, wonky electronic pop. And she only did that one album and then went off and did other things. And there's a picture of me, which I will include. You can just see me at the back. And as part of her set, we were under this big plastic cover and Natalie was on top of us. And it felt like a rave. So there I am, a middle-aged bloke, 2017, having the time of my life, not on drugs, no illegal substances, or not even a drink, really. Having just the best time while she played. And I had never seen, I knew nothing about her before the gig. I instantly went and bought the album, and I still play it really regularly. It's great, it's weird. But yeah, so that's the best venue I think I've been to. And the way that they done, the other people they had something called Blast Theory, I don't remember them. Hannah Peel played with a brass orchestra, which was really good. Pins, have you heard the band Pins? Mm-hmm. Female, they've changed lineup a bit, but they were really, really good. They should have done better than they have, really, but they were really quite good songs. All female group. Mm. They had Nadine Shah, who
She's
was
on the
amazing.
She's on the Glastonbury lineup this year.
Yeah, she was amazing, and Jane Weaver headlined, and I'd be honest.
Jane Weaver, Rush Hour. Jane Weaver.
No.
Wasn't her name Jane Weaver? No.
It could have been. Yeah. No, Jane Weaver. She's sort of electro pop, really.
Okay.
Not my thing. It was okay, but I think we left it just before the encore.
I'm thinking of the one
That's
from the
right,
Go-Go's.
Yeah.
In the Rush Hour.
Yeah, that's a good album actually. I've got that album. Jane Wheeling.
Is it?
Jane Wheeling. Hey, you see, wonky knowledge.
Wheeling.
Well, it's spelt weird.
We'll find it.
So yeah, that was my best gig I've ever been to.
Jane Wheeling, you're right.
Yeah. The best gig I ever played, well, we were talking about Glastonbury, was in 2007. I played the main stage at Sunrise Celebration. So
where was that?
So it was originally, when we played it, it was a place called Braley Farm, just 8 miles north of Yeovil.
Okay.
Right? And it was there for the first 2 years. Then it moved to somewhere called Bruton, apparently.
Sunrise Celebration.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I had to look this stuff up. So we had the band I was playing with, which was a sort of folk punk band called the Ryan Shull and the Bloody Marys. The album's available on our Bandcamp advert over. We were playing the main stage, and our manager had organised it, and the deal was that we were put. They had a magazine with it, and there was a CD, and we were on the CD, and all the bands that were on the CD played the main stage. Meant to play the Saturday early evening, which would have been the best slot. It was 8,000 people at this thing, and our drummer was in London watching Metallica because he was a bit of a metalhead, so we couldn't play until the Sunday afternoon. Anyway, it was still a good gig, and we went for the rest of us stayed for the whole weekend. We arrived on Thursday or Friday, and we really got into the festival spirit. So I got some of what it was like. It was very, very hippie,
right.
Very hippie. Every morning we would go down to the tea tent and have our cup of tea and some toast for breakfast and all of that sort of stuff. We even played in the tea tent at one point. I took a portable keyboard and we had the guitars, and so it was a really good vibe. I think the year we played, Eat Static were playing.
Okay.
We were introduced by God of Hellfire, Mr. I've forgotten his name. Fire. From the 60s. He was lovely, but bonkers. What happened at the end of it? So we were meant to be paid. It was a paid gig. I think we were on 300 quid, something like that. Arthur Brown, that's the man. Lovely bloke, Arthur Brown. He played an amazing set actually on that Saturday night. He played with just him and a guitarist, and with a classical guitar, and he was just amazing. He captivated the whole audience. He was great. There was like 4 or 5 stages around the venue. So it was the first year was 2006. We played the second year, 2007. It lost in those 2 years. It lost £250,000, and they came round to us at the end and said, "Would we mind donating our fee?" And we went. We've had a really great time, you know. And they just said, we're really struggling. They were lovely with the people organising it. We're really struggling because we took a couple of mates with us as well, you know, as road crew, who ended up doing their own gig on one of the small tents, you know, that sort of stuff. It was a really good atmosphere. It was a really good weekend, you know. So that's the closest I've been to actually a big-ish festival, right. You know. Toilets were horrendous, as I'm sure they are everywhere, apart from backstage. The backstage loos were great, but everywhere else it was like wee on a bloody bale, straw type thing, you know. And it stopped. I think it stopped. It did pick up again. It missed a couple of years and then picked up and went right the way through to 2011. I don't think it happens now.
Yeah, I'd say in 2012 was the last
2012,
one.
Right, yeah. Actually, interesting, the same year I played a festival, I can't remember where it was, a small festival in Harrogate, on a farm in Harrogate, which was the weirdest stage. It was a really steep valley, so we had to carry the gear up and down this bloody valley. And they built the actual stage out the side of the valley, right? And the audience were literally completely over the other side of the valley. They were quite a big PA, but it was certainly weird, you know. It was just like, you know. So, if I go back to...
Have you played any other festivals?
Yeah, I played quite a few. So, I haven't been to that many festivals. Let me just cover all the festivals. I did take Jane to a festival in... Again, this was 2007. The Magic of the 80s, which I'll be honest wouldn't have been my sort of choice. And it was the start of when they were doing the 80s acts were coming back and doing a day festival thing. And that was at Leeds, at Harewood House at Leeds. But the lineup was pretty good, apart from one act. So we had Lamal from Kajagoogoo, who was appalling.
Right.
Came out with his glass of wine, handing photographs out to the audience. I'm thinking, you knob.
Has he still got the hair?
He had the hair at that point. It's 2007, so he probably hasn't now.
Right.
Mitch Yo, doing all the Ultravox stuff, was really good. ABC, Paul Young, and I'd seen Paul Young a lot when he was in Q-Tips. Lost his voice, sadly. So voice wasn't terrible. Toya Wilcox, who I have seen since, who, let's face it, Toya, bless her, hasn't really got a voice, but she's a good show woman, you know. Go West were amazing, and it was headlined by Belinda Carlisle from the Go-Go's, you know. And it was actually quite a good day, really.
So that was before, because there's an awful lot of festivals now in Nostalgia.
Yeah, exactly. It was before all of that sort of stuff, and I would not have picked it, but Jay was really quite fancied going to see, you know. And it was a good lineup. Right. The only other one I did was same place, was Rock the House, and we had Idlewild, the Sunshine Underground, who were a Leeds band. They never really made it big. I saw them quite a lot back in the day. They were all right. Young Knives, who I really liked. Sons and Daughters, they were another Leeds band.
Yeah, they're still going, aren't they?
Yeah. The Horrors.
Yeah, I like those. I like their
The Horrors were terrible.
Oh, okay.
They were all Substance and no songs at that time.
Okay, I really like.
They looked great. Strong. They did look fantastic. They came out, but the songs were meh.
They're a bit gothy, right?
They are a bit gothy. Yeah, I think they've developed a lot since then.
It's electronic gothy rock.
It is. Yeah,
it's a good vibe. It's all right.
A band called The Dirty, who I can't remember at all, and the headliner was the brilliant Iggy Pop and the Stooges.
Okay. So what year was this?
This was 2007.
Okay.
And I mean, Iggy nailed it. I mean, I never really got Iggy Pop, to be fair. I quite liked the albums that he did when it was produced by Bowie. You know, that's when he was doing the Berlin thing, you know, and China Girl. He wrote China Girl, didn't he, for Bowie? But, you know, was it Eat My Dog or Be My Dog or something? He's one of his, you know. But seeing him live, and obviously half the Stooges are now dead anyway, you know, but that band were absolutely incredible. He was fantastic, and everybody got up on stage at the end, all the, you know, people, and he was well into all that sort of stuff, you know. He was crowd surfing.
Probably edgy.
It was edgy, but it was brilliantly edgy, you know, and I don't think his records really came close to what it was like to see him live.
Hard to reproduce, I suppose.
Yeah, you know, and he was amazing. So the gigs that I played at, first gig was, I played a couple of beer festivals, which were in Ripon, which they asked us back actually. We played 2005, 2006. I then went and played the Market Wheaton Giant Bradley Day, which I used to have an office in Market Wheaton. It's about 10 miles from York, and Giant Bradley was apparently the tallest man in England. And there's a wooden statue of him in the middle of Market Wheaton of Giant Bradley. And every year they have a Giant Bradley Day. And we played the festival, and we were on a truck at the back of a Sainsbury's, I think. It was all right. It was fine, you know. Then I played 2007 Sunrise Celebration. Then I played quite a few festivals with Kate and the Questions from 2008 onwards. So they were mainly sort of smallish festivals. Like there was something called the Howden Rib Fest, Selby Open Air Festival, Little Heroes in Bingley, which was headlined by TerraVision. So they were nice guys actually. We were on.
Are they from up your way?
They're from Bradford,
Right.
yeah. Yeah, I think that's why.
It's all up north.
Yeah, it's all up north. Yeah. So and I quite like Terrorvision.
Right.
They were, and it was all, that was all for charity. So we all play for charity, including the headliners, you know. And then played lots of other little things, like a couple of festivals in Pocklington, odd years. Played something called Dunnington Fair. They were all quite small festivals, really, but you know. And then I joined a blues band, DC Blues, for a year, just before the pandemic, and they put on, the lead singer, who also managed the band, put on the York Blues Festival, which is still going, and we played that 2 years on the trot, which was quite fun. And we also played the Great British Rhythm and Blues Festival in Cologne. I thought it was Cologne abroad in France or wherever. It wasn't. It was a place called Cologne in Lancashire, and they took over the whole town. We played twice. We played once in a pub at lunchtime, and then we had to get across town. The whole place is just full of people. You can't, you know, we're trying to drive a car with a load of gear, 2 cars, across town to play. I think we were on it about 11 o'clock at night for the second gig, and we get there to do the start of town, and literally the whole of it's just a mass of people. And we get to this venue, and the guy says, "Do you want to play outside? Because there's no point playing in here because we can't get any people in. Everybody's outside." So we just literally played on the street. We just put the PA up, you know, run a lead from, and it was a great experience. You know, you couldn't hear anything from you because the monitors, you just couldn't hear them. You know, but actually there must have been about 500 or 600 people on the street. Everybody's dancing, everybody's drunk, you know, and it was a really good experience. Nice, you know. Nice. So what about you? And then I've done a couple of solo festivals. I did the Streaming Festival in Milan, which meant I didn't have to go. I just sent my piece and they performed it. I did do the Sonorities Festival of Contemporary Music in Belfast. Went and played that. They're every 2 years. Actually, I'm looking at trying to get a slot for next year. They've just opened up their. You apply. It's not paid, but although they'll pay for some accommodation. So I'm thinking of maybe doing something with that if I can get on the bill, really. And then lots of other little things, really. You know, played Wavelength Festival in as a solo artist. When was that? 2023 in Whitby, sunny Whitby, more goths.
Yeah,
So
that is a bit of a place.
Whitby's quite a nice place, actually. Yeah, because we went and stayed the weekend.
Is that just below Hull? Is it that part of the country?
No, it's up there. It's up north, and geography's not my strong point.
Okay.
There's only one road in and out of. You've got sea at one end, and you know the road out of Hull, the road out of Whitby the other end. You know, it's not an easy road to get to. Actually, you can go along the coast to Scarborough and on to Bridlington and Filey and that.
Right.
So, and coming back, we did go along the coast road because the road is horrible. It's uphill and down dale and all over the place, a bit like the roads around here. And we did do the Scarborough, went to Scarborough, had lunch, and then drove back to York. You know, so, but yeah, it's. I don't think they have that festival up there anymore because it was run by a small independent record label. Whose name escapes me, and I think they've moved it somewhere down here. Not in the southwest, but in the south certainly. Right. You know, they had Runcorn, Warrington Runcorn guy. Can't remember his real name. Graham somebody.
Yeah, I don't know his real name. I listen to his stuff though.
Yeah, it's good actually. I like it. Yeah. So what about you? What have you played?
So I've only ever played. Yeah, only ever performed at one festival. So this was back in probably about 2010, 11. Yeah, 10, 11. So when we used to live down near Brighton, I worked with a guy called Martin Rolt, who he's now a full-time artist. He does stipple drawings, you know, millions of these dots. So, and they're fantastic. So him and I used to work together, and we got chatting about music, and we realised the kind of Venn diagram of where we met was anything that was kind of inspired by dub. So we started DJing. We were called Dub Rockers Live.
Cool.
And we started DJing in Brighton, kind of Friday, Saturday nights, and playing. It was kind of dub was at the heart of what we did. Yeah. But we'd play things like, I don't know, Pill, Public Image Limited, or Happy Mondays. So we'd start with dub and reggae, but we'd span off to things that we're inspired by. And we used to play a lot in Brighton, great nights. And there was the One Love Festival, which is a reggae festival, if you've heard of that.
I've heard of that.
So it doesn't go anymore. I think it struggled to hold down a regular venue. They did actually play once up in the field in Bruton, where Shindig was once.
A couple of years ago?
Yeah. So
I remember
probably about 19, probably just before COVID.
Yeah,
2019.
that rings a bell.
So we played there. It was in Hyde in Kent. We were on very early, but it was it was still good. We were in a big tent. Good vibe. I mean, the One Love Festival always attracted anybody who's anybody on the reggae scene. They had one of the Marleys there.
Oh wow.
They had big names. So that was good to do. Spend the whole weekend at a festival. We got to play. That's the closest I ever got to it. But it was good fun.
I'd like to play more festival. I mean, we did a festival. We did a festival in Hull, in Hull, in Leeds, not that long ago.
Yeah, it counts, right?
It counts as a festival.
Yeah.
But I would like to do more festivals, certainly.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a good vibe. I mean, with our Sona Vida stuff, he's very festival friendly.
That would be your stuff would go down really well.
If we could get a slot at the right festival, we kind of miss the cut-offs, because the cut-offs for festivals are usually kind of by the end of the winter when you've got to apply and they go through the filtering and screening. So we'll have a push this year to see if we can get on some next year. Never know. Maybe this time, well, not next year, we can't play Glastonbury, but you never know. There are so many of them.
You'll need a road crew.
Exactly. So in terms of festivals I've been to, last year I went to Forwards Festival in Bristol, actually.
Okay.
Which is in August. It was really great. I went last year because LCD Sound System were playing, and I'd never seen them, so I really wanted to see them. But that's up on Clifton Downs, up in Bristol.
Yeah.
They have like an east and a west stage, so they're opposite each other, and they time it right. So how they kind of stage it is they're you'll be watching somebody on the east stage, and then somebody comes on that's similar vibe on the next stage. So everybody moves from that stage to the other one, and then people move the other way. So they split it up really quite well, so you don't get it's not too crowded. But it was a great venue, good location, great venue. Wasn't overcrowded, nice chill vibe, easy to get food and drinks and stuff. Really good. My daughter's going this year. I was looking, but there wasn't anybody that really stood out for me.
There was I had a ticket to go. This was obviously the year. So last February, to come down to Bristol to go to Simple Things Festival, which I think they did do this year. Now, obviously, that year it was February, and it was literally the week before we were moving. So I ended up giving my ticket away to one of my sons. So they'd been, because I said to him, I said, have you ever been to Simple? Because they know Bristol really quite well. We're at university there. So have you ever been to Simple Thing? Oh yeah, we go every year. No. So and that festival though is I think in quite a few pubs and venues around town, and it's over a couple of days. I was really interested because they had people like Gazelle Twin come in. They did go and they didn't go. I said, "Did you go see Gazelle Twin?" I went, "No." Anyway,
so I've been to Boomtown. That's up in Newbury.
All right.
We took the kids as well, which is it was a mental festival.
Is it really?
It's a young crowd. There's a lot of chemicals going on. It's a crazy festival. But I went there because Fat Freddy's Drop on the back of my t-shirt. Because I really like them. They're one of my faves. They're a band from New Zealand, but they come to the UK a lot. It's kind of reggae, soul-y, dancey vibe. They're really good. They played. Damian Marley played. Madness played. Who were a bit naff actually.
Yeah, they came to York once. I didn't go because I thought they're back in the day, fair enough. But again, they've become their own tribute act, haven't they?
But Boomtown's nuts. I mean, if you're into grime and drum and bass and all that sort of stuff, it's a mad festival.
It's not for
if
me.
I was 25, I'd be all over it. But
yeah,
not
exactly.
when I'm more than double that age. What else? Back in the day, did V Festival, and there was one called Phoenix Festival. It used to be in Stratford upon Avon.
Oh,
So
right.
when I used to live up in the Midlands, we went to them. I don't know, can't remember much. It was probably just sitting in tents, drinking warm beer.
Yeah.
You know, it was more. In those days, it was less commercialised. It was more about you all got together and hung around. You know, you all sit around a fire. You met all your mates. It was less about the bands, if you like.
That's what I did when we went to see the pop gig festival, because Jane didn't go because it wasn't her thing at all. But me and the band and mates went. So all the Bloody Marys went, along with a load of other mates that we.
It was pre-internet, pre-telephones, right? So you just all figured out. It's just opportunity for you all just to get together for a weekend, wasn't it?
It was great.
That's for 20. We're good. I do that every episode. I need to find a better phone. Hold on.
Jason's dropped his phone. Oh, yeah, I've got a phone here. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Probably won't go on the heater, but
There we go.
you can always stick it here, mate. You can put it on there. So Jason's dropped his phone again.
So that's it. I think in Spirits and Festivals.
Cool.
I guess the thing to look forward to is, as we say, let's see if we can get on one next year.
It'd be great to play festivals. So, like I say, I don't quite know how you do it either. Do you contact? I mean, smaller festivals you contact them direct, I'm sure, because that's how I've always got on some smaller festivals. But it is a bit corporate these days. A lot of this sort of stuff. Do you need an agent? Because that's something that an awful lot of acts need. I mean, going back to when I worked in working men's clubs up north, we had an agent and he would book us the gigs. And I think that sort of works in a bigger.
I think there's promoters
now.
For different tents and different fields and different stages, and you've got to somehow get hold of those, I guess. But supposedly the back to the All Play Since EMOM in Bristol that we did. Apparently they run a stage at Glastonbury. Electric.
That would be good.
Electric Haze or something.
All right.
It's on their website. So they've got some
connections.
They participate in Glastonbury, so you never know.
Yeah, there's other things as well, because just talking about EMOMs, I'm going to later on in July. I am going to the one day which is Gear Fest in London at Talyard, which I've gone before, and it's just gear. It's not just synths. It's there's all sorts of the studio gear and all sorts of things really. To be fair, it's just to meet up with mates really, and have a natter and catch up with people and look at some gear. But they're having an EMOM apparently. I don't know how you get on I don't actually know if I want to get on the bill, because I'd have to take some gear with me.
There was talk of an EMOM festival around here, wasn't there, in Wiltshire somewhere in September?
Yeah, I don't know if it's all gone a bit quiet, but so
stay tuned for that.
Yeah. So are we done with festivals? Anything else?
Well, I've done some research on some of the big ones. We won't go through them all, but there was something interesting I found. So all the big ones like wireless, download, transmit. These are all the ones like 100,000 plus.
Right.
Interesting that most of them are sponsored by Rockstar energy drinks. I'm not plugging them, but it's interesting how the sponsors have shifted and somebody's got the hold on all of those big festivals. So I suppose kids aren't necessarily drinking alcohol, but they're picking up these dreadful energy drinks.
Which are not good, let's face it, they're not good for you.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know about the Rockstar one, but it's interesting that they're promoting most of those big ones. Something that stood out for me when I was looking at it as well is, Reading and Leeds is coming up. Obviously, they generally have the same headliners, so they'll play headline Reading on the Friday and Leeds on the Saturday.
Leeds is carnage. I have been, not as a punter, I have been to Leeds Festival to pick up my sons when they've gone, when they were, and usually on the Sunday it is carnage. They're burning tents, they're causing trouble.
Right.
It's become a bit of a thing, really. It's almost like a rite of passage for teenage kids to go to that, and quite a few years they did go, and having literally had to get out of the car and go and find them, on Sunday evening was a bit leery, to say the least.
So another notable thing really was the Wireless Festival, which is probably the second biggest or one of the biggest in the UK. So it's in Finsbury Park in London,
right.
130,000 people. It's 11th of July, so in a few weeks' time. I was looking at the lineup, and it must be unique. So Drake is headlining every night.
Every night?
He's playing 3 different sets. which is it's like his festival. So there's other acts playing, a lot of other acts playing, but so he's playing 3 unique sets on the Friday, the Saturday, and the Sunday, which I thought was a bit odd.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a big pull, I guess. If that's your thing, he's a big
his
pull.
stuff has never. I've never liked his stuff, but that's.
No.
I don't think he's really talking to me.
Not
as
in
an
my
artist,
orbit either.
no,
but yeah, just quite
But
interesting.
it's obviously that you can't knock anybody that is that big.
I mean, he's headlining 3 nights on the trot,
Yeah.
which is quite interesting.
Is he? I mean, I know absolutely nothing about Drake. Is he from UK? Is he London?
Is he not?
I thought he was American, but I wouldn't know.
I thought he was Canadian. Is he not the one who had the spat with Lamar?
Yeah, apparently.
Right. Yeah,
But
I don't know.
But I'll be honest with you, that
We're
goes straight over my head.
We're going
on
to show our
purpose.
naivety if we try and talk about the merits of Drake.
I don't.
I mean,
I'll be
I'm
honest, I
sure
don't care.
we've probably heard his tunes. He's massive, right? We've probably,
Yeah, I'm sure we have, but not really taken any
I think
notice.
he's Canadian, isn't he?
You're going to find out now, aren't you?
As quick as the Wi-Fi will work. So that's, I guess, the other thing I was just going to say on all of the large UK festivals. I mean, we should maybe do another one on more grassroots and underground.
That would be good at some point, I think. Yeah.
There are more than 1,000 festivals in the UK. It'd be wrong just to talk about the big ones, but the big ones, all the household names. Isle of Wight, which is on right now. Transmit, Download, which is at Donington, I think. Rock orientated. I think Green Day are playing there.
Yeah.
They're all about £300, and it just makes you think, well, is that really, you're 17, 18,
Bank of mum and dad.
Yeah, is the demographic of the people going to festivals changing? Has it become a bit more middle class? Has it become an older generation of people with a bit of expendable, with a bit of money in the bank?
I suspect, this sounds judgmental, it's not meant to be, but I suspect quite a lot of people going to festivals are reliving their youth.
Possibly.
I mean, I'm not saying that, I've got absolutely no evidence for that, but that's just the first thing that, at 300 quid, it's either bank of mum and dad, so you're paying for your kids to go. I don't remember paying for my boys to go to Leeds Fest. I thought that they had paper rounds and they had, part-time jobs when they were at school.
Weren't they down Pitt, up north?
They were, well, no, by then all pits had closed.
Oh, okay.
Actually, that's one of my recommendations. We'll come back to recommendations. I have a recommendation of things to watch. It's not about mine in particular, but it's mentioned. We should talk. I mean, at some point in the future, I'll be quite happy to. Throughout the 1980s, when the miners' strike was on in North, I was playing miners' welfare clubs. Right. And so I've got quite a unique. Anyway, that's a whole different.
For another time.
That's a whole different.
So that's
thing.
a bit on festivals. I mean, massive industry. It is important for the UK. I don't think we should be sniffy at it. Whether you.
No,
I said Glasgow wankers earlier. Whether you like it or not, it's good for the economy. It's good for people to have weekends away. It's good for keeping the industry warm. Glastonbury's global. Right? It represents the UK in a good light. I don't think you can knock any festival of any size and shape, really.
I think I would just like to see more grassroots artists at large festivals.
Yep. Which I'm sure they're there. They just don't get as much airtime, I guess.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yep. I mean, I'll go off the beaten track next weekend when I'm there and just see who there is, right?
Yeah.